Next, on Currents News, alert and well, even up walking. After surgery to remove part of his colon, Pope Francis is on the move. We have team coverage.
We are checking up on Pope Francis. I'm Justin McClellan at the hospital here in Rome. Everything you need to know about the Holy Father's health is up next.
Then more about his condition. Just how serious is diverticulitis? We speak with a doctor for a diagnosis. And prayers pouring in from politicians to pilgrims.
He is strong, and with all the support we're giving him, he'll definitely make it.
And a pastoral visit on the horizon. Nothing stopping his plans from taking off on a two-country tour come September. Stay with us for the latest on Pope Francis's road to recovery. Good evening, I'm Christine Persichetti. Pope Francis is walking and eating 2 days after undergoing a planned colon surgery at an Italian hospital. The Vatican also said he is resting well during the night. We have team coverage of the pontiff's recovery, beginning with Justin McClellan standing by at the Pope's hospital in Rome.
Pope Francis received an A+ report card Tuesday morning. The Holy Father ate breakfast, read the newspaper, and even walked around his room at Rome's Gemelli Polyclinic.
After undergoing some tests this morning, Pope Francis seems to be in good shape after he underwent a surgery Sunday to remove half of his colon. Everything is yielding a good and normal result, according to the Vatican spokesperson that issued this statement Tuesday morning. His Holiness Pope Francis rested well during the night. This morning he had breakfast, read some newspapers, and got up to walk. The post-operative recovering is regular. Routine control tests are good.
E per favore, non dimenticatevi di pregare per me. Grazie. Ciao. Ciao ragazzi.
The Pope, who is 84, underwent 3 hours of surgery on Sunday for what the Vatican said was a narrowing of the large intestine. They said doctors removed the left side of his colon. Prayers are coming in from all over the world. We spoke to these people in St. Peter's Square.
He is strong, and with all the support we're giving him, he'll definitely make it. Well, I suppose that, as with any surgery, there is some level of risk, but he's doing well, and I think he'll recover soon.
Pilgrims hope Francis can make his next routine appointment with the public, which would normally be this Sunday.
If Pope Francis remains hospitalized, he might have to do that blessing here while still recovering. During his many stays at this hospital, St. John Paul II would sometimes come to his hospital room window to wave and bless his many well-wishers gathered outside. In Rome, Justin McClellan, Currents News.
Like Justin mentioned, leaders from all over the world are praying for a speedy recovery for Pope Francis. The President and Prime Minister of Italy are joining the chorus of good wishes. The presidents of Nigeria, Malta, and Venezuela also sending their prayers, as is the President of Israel, tweeting out, quote, wishing health and a speedy recovery to His Holiness Pope Francis I. Our prayers and those of the Israeli people are with you. Prayers for the pontiff also coming from his predecessor, Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. The Holy See says Pope Benedict is thinking of Francis with affection. And he's not the only religious doing so. The Grand Imam of SESARE is praying for his, quote, dear brother. Patriarch Bartholomew of Constantinople wrote a message to Francis expressing his fraternal wishes for a speedy recovery, offering him well wishes. Pope Francis had part of his colon removed in what the Vatican has described as a planned procedure. The bowel problems the 84-year-old Pope was experiencing are very common in older people, although only about 10 to 20% of those with similar problems require surgery. Jessica Easthope continues our team coverage with more about the operation.
The Vatican's message about Pope Francis's recovery was vague, but medically it said a lot. And one specific piece of information shows he's ahead of the curve.
I was actually quite stunned. In my experience, they use a couple of days before they have, they give the patient clear liquids before he eats solids. But from what I read this morning, he was given a solid food meal already.
The Pope's surgery to remove part of his colon that had narrowed lasted 3 hours. Dr. Robert Tabali of the Catholic Medical Association explained how it was done.
They basically snipped at one end, snipped at the other end, and then reattached almost like you would a garden hose.
The condition is called stenosis. It happens when little pockets form inside the intestines and can cause blockage.
The Pope has been suffering from recurrent diverticulitis, which is an inflammation of pouchings of the bowel called diverticulosis.
Diverticulosis is common and on the rise across the world. In the U.S. alone, nearly 60% of adults over the age of 60 have it. Dr. Tabali says that's because the walls of the bowel weaken.
With age, the inner lining actually herniates through the muscle walls.
Sometimes people who have diverticulosis don't know it because there are no obvious symptoms. But those trying to prevent it stay away from food like seeds and popcorn.
This can get filled with non-digestible food matter and can block fecal material in there, which can lead to infection.
Normally, diverticulosis doesn't become a threat until your late 40s. The only way to prevent it, stay on top of getting colonoscopies. Based on his seemingly speedy recovery, the Pope most likely had his surgery done laparoscopically through his belly button, but he's expected to stay in the hospital for 5 days. Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
The surgery still can't slow down Pope Francis, who announced a trip to Hungary and Slovakia shortly before heading to the hospital. The Holy Father's trip will be from September 12th to September 15th, and he won't be leaving from the Vatican. He'll be in Budapest the morning of the 12th to celebrate the concluding Mass of the International Eucharistic Conference. The Holy See's press office has not yet released any details of the Pope's program. Our team coverage of the Pope's road to recovery will continue tomorrow. Editor of Crux, John Allen, will be with us to talk about the Vatican's media handling of the Pope's condition, or sometimes lack of details. That's Wednesday on Currents News. Turning now to gun violence across the country. As the U.S. comes out of the pandemic, more than 180 people were killed in shootings across the country during the holiday weekend. According to data compiled by the Gun Violence Archive, the country saw more than 540 shootings between Friday and Sunday. New York City saw 21 of them, 12 on the 4th of July itself. That's up from the 8 shootings from last year's Independence Day. In response to the shootings, Governor Andrew Cuomo signed an executive order in hopes of tackling gun violence in the state.
It is a statewide problem, and it is an emergency. And I want the people of the state to understand that. And I want them to respond to the emergency for the way it is. So today, first state in the nation is going to declare a disaster emergency on gun violence.
Calling it the first of its kind in the country, Cuomo's disaster emergency order will allow the state to quickly allocate money and resources to parts of the state with the most gun violence. Concerns are growing over the new COVID Delta variant as New York is seeing an uptick in infections. According to the state health department, 0.76% of coronavirus tests administered Sunday came back positive. That's the highest rate the state has seen in at least a month. But despite the increase, COVID-related hospitalizations in New York dropped to just 330. Sports are back after being put on hold because of the pandemic, but fewer children nationwide are playing them, and some have no intention of getting back on the field or the court. Currents News' Emily Drewby went out to see if the same pattern holds true in the Diocese of Brooklyn.
All right, stay alert.
Soccer camp. It keeps Stefano CESARE active while school is out.
I get to see my friends during the summer instead of playing video games and staying inside.
It's a game he's played since he was 3, coming to the summer camp at Christ the King for several years. But during the pandemic, he wasn't really able to play.
It was boring because I would always have something to do every week, and to not do it, it felt empty.
Stefano wasn't alone. Sports shut down across the country in 2020. But now with things reopening, experts fear it's the athletes that won't be back. During the pandemic, practice hours were down more than 50%. 29% of parents report their kids are simply no longer interested in playing, according to nonprofit the Aspen Institute's Project Play data. Participation in team sports was dropping before the pandemic, too. Christ the King Associate Athletic Director Joseph Arbitello argues sports are necessary. He sees a difference when kids can't play.
I mean, I saw a lot of depression. I saw young people coming out of their routine, which is a tough thing for a young person to do.
He's been a part of the summer camp for years, starting as a camper himself. Maya MARCHAN, also a former camper, now she's a student athlete and camp counselor.
I think you build so many good relationships with your friends. You get to meet new people. It opens up the world for you.
The camp attempted to run in summer of 2020, but saw a significant drop in the amount of kids signed up. But this summer, their camps are full. Joe credits social media and in-person recruiting.
I'll go to CYO, I'll stop by AAU programs, I'll go to Juniper Valley Park.
Their attendance is at pre-pandemic numbers, and with several weeks of camps left and registration still open, attendance could go up even more.
All right, good try.
Christ the King is just one of many within the Catholic High School Athletic Association in the Diocese of Brooklyn running summer sports camps, a commitment to keeping kids active. In Middle Village, Emily Druby, Currents News.
If you'd like to sign your kids up for a sport this summer, you can check out CYO camps at cyodob.org. There's a lot more news headed your way. Rescue efforts continue in Florida, but there are concerns as Tropical Storm Elsa barrels toward the state. How rescue crews are getting ready for the weather. Plus, why one resident of that building is calling it a miracle that he's alive.
This is unbelievable to think that something like this could happen.
Now his concerns move to his friends and neighbors still missing. We speak with him after the break.
There are now some big changes to the tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
It's been nearly 2 weeks since the deadly building collapse in Surfside, Florida, and people there couldn't imagine things could get any worse. But as Nadia Romero reports, a storm barreling their way could hamper search and rescue efforts.
Mauricio, this is me, this is Gabriela, this is Maria Inés.
Sharing pictures and stories outside the collapsed condo in Surfside, Florida. A brother waiting for answers about his missing sister.
My sister Gabriela. Reza por me, pray for me. She's already up there. Pray for me and pray for all that love you. For all of us that love you.
Search efforts in Surfside interrupted by lightning, with fears more delays or problems could brew from Tropical Storm Elsa's wrath.
We do continue to expect occasional gusts and strong showers today, and we're closely monitoring the weather.
In other parts of the state,
begin your preparations now. Be prepared to be without power for a few days.
Loading up on sandbags. Some airlines waiving change fees for impacted travelers, and at least 2 airports announcing closures. Some hitting the road out of the storm's path, but not before tying down and securing their homes.
We just want to do everything that we can at this point.
Back at Surfside, it's all hands on deck, unless Elsa gets in the way.
We now have our weather service embedded within our search and rescue teams to work closely to track for any changes that could impact the work to assure the safety of our first responders.
Nadia Romero, Currents News.
Amid all of the tragic stories coming out of Florida, there are some amazing stories of survival. Eric DeMora should have been asleep in his 10th floor apartment the night of the collapse, but a last-minute decision to stay at his girlfriend's house longer than usual has him here with us today. Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been nearly 2 weeks since the collapse. How are you doing?
I'm still in shock, like everybody else. And this is unbelievable to think that something like this could happen. I feel like I'm in a movie. I'm on vacation that I didn't want to go to. It's really bad.
I can't even imagine, and I know you've been to the site pretty often. Describe what's happening there and the feeling you get when you see your home for the past couple of years just gone.
When it first happened, I wanted to go there twice or 3 times a day. I don't know, just I'm attached to that place. That was my home. And then the city took us over there to the very close to the site. We had a different vision of the rubble, and again, it's like being in a movie. Your home is destroyed. Your belongings, your friends, and your neighbors. I'm over there looking at the rubble, and the rescue team is looking for people. And being over there, even though it's very shocking and heartbreaking to see that scene, I'm glad to be alive.
Absolutely. I'm sure many of your neighbors, as you said, do you have friends that they're still looking for?
Yes, I still have some friends, in particular, that haven't been found. Their bodies or they're alive, they haven't been found yet. So we are praying and hoping that, like me not being there, to me it was a miracle. Someone comes out of there alive.
Yeah, you say you're alive because of the grace of God. How have you been keeping the faith through all of this?
It's very difficult to explain, and some people have faith, some people have not. And I was supposed to be there based on my own decisions. And I believe that God acted to my girlfriend to keep me safe that night. And because I wasn't there, by His grace, I believe that now He's going to guide me through this difficult time and into the right direction.
Absolutely. It's so incredible. And I know you had the chance to speak with President Biden when he visited Surfside last week. What did he say to you?
He's going to try his best to help. He says there are limited things that he can do on a federal level, president, but he will do whatever he can to all of us. He sympathizes, he's empathy for this tragedy. He had suffered a bad experience before with his family, so he definitely knows what the families are going through, and we are going through with people that lost, everything.
And really quickly, I believe you're staying at a hotel now. What's your plan moving forward?
I don't have a direction right now. We are relying on private donors. There's not a lot on the table solid right now. So it's living day by day now.
All right, Eric, we are definitely saying our prayers for you. Eric DeMora from Surfside, Florida. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you so much.
Archbishop Thomas WENSKI of Miami joined Boston Cardinal Sean O'Malley to pray for the victims of the collapsed building. The Archbishop visited the memorial wall for the victims near the collapsed site Friday afternoon. It was the first time the head of the Archdiocese of Miami visited the site, but he told Currents News Catholics in his archdiocese and around the country have been supporting the victims from the start.
Since the disaster happened, we've had people from Catholic Charities on site, from Catholic Health Services on site, and they are available to the families of the survivors. There's a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, and basically during this time we have to accompany those people in their pain.
Archbishop WENSKI said the pastor from St. Joseph's, as well as first responder chaplains, are also available for survivors and their families. Miami officials are asking those who wish to help to be extra careful when donating to GoFundMe pages. They've already identified scammers who created fake fundraisers. While the officials have not named any specific pages, GoFundMe has created one page with all verified organizations and causes. Just go to GoFundMe.com and click on Surfside Condo Collapse, How to Help, near the top of the homepage. Another place you can go to ensure your money is helping those in need is the Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of Miami's page. Just visit their website, ccadm.org. Still to come on Currents News, a big birthday calls for a big celebration. How one Catholic Minnesota woman got a special surprise for her 100th birthday. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. A Catholic woman says she doesn't like a fuss, but she got one anyway for her 100th birthday. Kent Erdahl reports about one feisty Midwesterner who got the surprise party she never wanted. Also, her family could show how much they love her.
Big surprise parties are not for everyone.
I'm sure she's going to say that's enough.
And when you're going against the wishes of a 100-year-old,
don't scare her. You know how that is.
You celebrate at your own risk.
She's going to be mad at all of you, but not us.
Well, she doesn't like parties, so I kind of wish you wouldn't have asked me to wear this thing, let somebody else take the bullet, but somebody got to do it, right?
Besides, as the oldest of 4 kids, Jerry Kimmis,
this wasn't my idea, but
has been surprising his mom for 73 years. And it's only gotten slightly easier.
Happy birthday, Grandma! What a bunch of liars.
Even Louise Kimmis's grandkids know she's not the party type.
Do you feel the love?
No.
Not right now.
No.
Are you still mad?
Yeah.
Yeah, still mad?
Yeah.
Just be mad at your kids, not at your grandkids, okay?
Technically, she could also blame her sisters.
That's probably going to be on TV.
All 4 were part of the planning.
That's wonderful.
That's what happens when you grow up with 12 siblings.
6 brothers, they're all passed away, and 1 older sister that's passed away.
Thankfully, these 4 all survived the pandemic and the isolation that came with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was hard. Very hard.
But they say it was Louise who inspired them to keep going.
Oh, yeah. She's a busybody. She's busy all the time.
And if you're wondering whether hitting 100 will slow her down, well,
I haven't got time to die.
she is too busy sewing quilts and diapers for the Catholic Church.
I made 17,000 of them. And we sent them to Haiti and Honduras and Jamaica.
And with the newly signed 100th birthday blessing from the Pope himself, her family decided to also plan a parade.
Oh, you kids.
Fit for a Pope.
Happy birthday, honey.
Oh my gosh.
And sometime between the parade of cars and the parade of photos, including 16 grandkids
Oh, we got a kid in the middle.
and nearly all 42 great-grandkids, Louise began to embrace this blessing too.
That's the most birthday I ever celebrated in my whole life.
No matter how unwelcome it was.
Well, I suppose I better thank him, otherwise I don't know what to say.
What an amazing woman. That was Kent Erdahl reporting. And even at 100, Louise drives every Sunday to play cards with her sisters. Amazing. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. I hope to see you again next time.